News: Trump announces deal to reopen government, in surprise retreat from wall. The New York Times. By Ed